Hello and welcome to this week's Craft and Chat. I'm Amanda of Inspiring Inking. Welcome. You could be joining me on YouTube or on Facebook. And if you are and you're watching live, can you do me a sound and light check, please? And for those of you watching the replay, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and hang out with us. We normally have about 20 minutes of chatting and then I get crafting. Today, I'm getting a bit of my grunge on. I'm very excited to be sharing a new bundle, which is called Gears and Textures. And we're just going to be doing a little bit of messy stamping. So, how are you all doing? How is everyone's world? The more I watch the news, the more bizarre the world seems to get. So, I'm kind of at the point where I'm thinking that maybe I'm not going to watch the news. We'll just craft instead. I think that's probably the best plan. Let's see. Oh, Lorraine is here. Good evening. It's probably almost nearly morning where you are, Lorraine. And Donna is here as well, and Elizabeth and Margaret. Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me know that my sound and light is perfect. I did have a moment before I came live. I have learnt to make sure that the computer's done all its updates and things. And it was this massive update that it was doing. So I'm really pleased I came upstairs before lunch and switched it on. And it seems to be all okay. But as always, if anything kind of goes weird with the live, just let me know in the comments. Because sometimes it kind of goes wonky at your end, but it looks normal at mine. So I really appreciate that. And you keeping me informed of what's going on. Cherie, that is a really cool name. Cherie Stampin' Shenanigans. Honestly, shenanigans is one of my favorite words. I think we should all be going off and having shenanigans. Just the word makes me happy. So Liz is here, Ali's here, Lorraine is here, Chris is here. Awesome. We got a really busy house. That is amazing. Okay, so I had some things I was going to show you. Never mind. I'll show you next week. Or shall I go and get them now? Let me go and get them. Would it be alive with me without me forgetting something? Okay. So whilst I'm gone, which is going downstairs and back up the stairs, going down's fine, coming back up again always makes you what question can I ask? So I know, if you could go on holiday anywhere, so money, time, mode of transport, whatever, if you could go anywhere, where would you go? And I'll tell you my two places I really, really, really want to go when I get back. So I'll see you in a minute. Hurrah. I'm back. And I've got hiccups now, which is just crazy. So whilst you're all putting in your things, so I would, there are two places that I'd really like to go. And the first is Antarctica. Firstly, snow and penguins. So, and I've seen there's these amazing cruises and they take you all lots of places. So yeah, so that's my first. And my second is a little bit more out there, really. I'd like to go to space. And not kind of this whole let's shoot you up in the air so you're officially in space and then you come back down again. I mean, like Star Trek space, Star Wars space, actual space in a spaceship somewhere. So so there we go. So they're my two things. I mean, if I actually have to, I could give you a list of about 20 places around the world I would love to go. But they're my two kind of pretty much impossible dreams, I think. So let me just have a look. Cherie was asking how my Christmas was. My Christmas was amazing, thank you. My grandson was born just before Christmas. So yeah, so that's been really good. Tessa's here, awesome. Ali wants to go to Scandinavia. I love Scandinavia. I've been to Finland and Norway, and they are just incredible places. Donna wants to come to England. Awesome. We're very friendly. You can come and visit us. That'd be good. Lorraine would like to go to Canada. Tessa would like to go to the Isles of Scilly. Chris would like to go to New Zealand or Canada. New Zealand's on my list as well. Liz wants to go to Norway. Honestly, it's amazing. Cherie wants to come over to England with Lorraine. Oh, so Lorraine wants to go to Canada and go on the glass top train to Banff. So I've been to Canada very briefly. I was on a cruise, but my husband's been to Banff and absolutely adored it. Elizabeth saying she wants to go to New Zealand. That's on my list as well. But her husband wants to go to Shetland. And again, Shetland's beautiful. Transcontinental train across Canada, says Jill. Wow. You see, so many things, so many places, so many adventures and shenanigans to be having. I think we just all ought to have a little travel fund and make your dreams happen. We don't need more stuff, do we? Unless it's crafting stuff, and then that's kind of, we need more of that. But we do need to have more adventures. And I think travel is just such an incredible thing that we can do. But obviously we need to earn the pennies in order to be able to earn the money, or do the work to earn the money so we can run away. Sounds like a plan to me. Donna's saying the little she's seen of New Zealand is wonderful. Yeah, I mean, Australia's on my list as well. Well, to be honest, there are very few countries that are not on my list. So I've either been there or they're on the list. So So yeah, I mean, I love Asia. Japan is one of the next places on my list of places I want to go. Chris says she's got a bus pass, but a bus pass means you can go on adventures. You don't have to go far afield to go on adventures. We go on an adventure whenever we step foot outside the door. Oh. Lorraine's saying all of New Zealand is gorgeous. And Cherie's saying she can't travel far from home now, but she's really lucky because she's in Australia already. So, and again, I appreciate that, you know, we all have restrictions on what we can do and where we can go, but we can live through other people's adventures too, which is good. Okay, so I have a few things to tell you. The first is I'm going to be emailing tomorrow. You need to be reading the email that I send tomorrow. That's all I can say. So please read the email tomorrow. Moving on from that, I do love my cryptic messages, but you know, some days I have things to say and I can't say them. So I have to tell you tomorrow. Okay, as far as the world of Stampin' Up, and the email is about Stampin' Up as well. In the world of Stampin' Up, there's so many things going on. Again, still, it kind of makes everyone's head spin. So I'm just going to run through them again, just so that you know exactly what's going on. Okay. Annual catalogue. Look, this is my show copy when I do craft shows. The annual catalogue's running. The mini catalogue is running. The online exclusive products is currently running. Also happening, for every £45 you spend, you get £4.50 in bonus days coupons to spend in February. Now, it's been running all the way through January. Make sure that when you're placing your order, you do it in multiples of 45. You don't want to put in an £87 order when you could put in a £90 order and then you'll get your extra £4.50 voucher. Okay. There's no kind of limit to them, and the coupon codes will come in via email. So make sure you've got them. And if for some reason they're not in your inbox, check in your spam. And again, if they haven't come through, let me know and I'll speak to our support team and get it sorted out. Now, the £45 and £4.50 coupon is UK prices. For my European friends, obviously it's in euros, and the rest of the world, it will be in whichever currency you are in, and the values will be different. So just check with your local demonstrator to figure out what the amounts are. Then this is so cool. This is the Fabulous Saying Stamp Set. It's the product of the month. Da, da, da. It costs £5. Oh, I've gone all blurry. Hang on. I'll put my face in a bit closer, see if it'll refocus. Yay! Hooray! I don't mind being in soft focus, but when I get to crafting, that won't be good, will it? So this product of the month is available. It costs £5 when you spend a £70 order. So again, what does Amanda want you to do? I want you to maximize your benefits. If you can stretch to a £70 order, make sure that you put in your product of the month and pay your £5. If you close your order without adding it, Stamping Up cannot add it back in. This has happened a few times to some of my customers, and there's no way of doing it. So just, write yourself a little note, product of the month. Make sure you add it to your basket. And again, if you're having a little bit of a splurge, then make sure you get it, because honestly, it is such a cool set, and I'm going to be using it in a minute anyway. So that's all the things that are going on with Stamping Up until obviously when I message you tomorrow. Okay, so let's see. Margaret says she has bus passes too and use them a lot in the Lake District. Donna's saying her daughter and husband are traveling to England in April. How wonderful. They will have an amazing time. If they've never been, tell them that everywhere takes a really long time to get to places. Traffic, roundabouts, all the things. I remember having some friends who came over from the US who were trying to spend a few days traveling around Scotland, and they were only here for a week. And if you fly into London, it's going to take you the best part of a day to get to Scotland, unless you fly. And then even then it's a couple hours. But all of the distances, although it doesn't look very far in miles, don't look at the miles or the kilometers, whichever you prefer to work in. Look at the travel time. Because for those of you that are used to traveling in countries where you have great big roads and, you can travel 100 miles in an hour or a little bit over an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Yeah. Or we can't do that. So Mum's here, Pauline's here. So I never remember how far it is to your house, Mum. But I think it's about 250 miles. Maybe it's 300. But that journey on a really good run takes me 6-7 hours. On a rubbish run, it can take 8 to 10 hours. But that kind of gives you some indication. And that's a lot of that is motorway as well. I mean, not all of it, but a lot of it is. Let's have a look. Ali's on the Stamping Up site has had a similar message last night. Yes, there'll be information coming out tomorrow. Donna's here. Good. Okay. Yeah, so Donna's going to let them know. And Lorraine, I'm so jealous, Lorraine. She's off to Salzburg and hoping for snow. Are you skiing, Lorraine? Or are you just happy to see the snow? Okay, so the things that I ran downstairs to get are some cards from 2 of our kits. Now, I talk about kits quite often. I share what's kind of included in the kits. But recently, I've set up some classes that we're going to be using kits in, and I've been making up samples and various other things. And I just wanted to quickly show you a couple of the kits, different types of kits, so that how they look on a screen and how they look in real life are not always the same. So I just thought I would show you them. So the first one is this one. It's called Beautiful Blues Kit. Actually, is that going to focus? Yeah, Beautiful Blues Kit. That's the number. And it's £22. Now, it's a set that comes with a stamp set and an ink pad. And in the card making kits, we've got two types. So, and I'm showing you both types today. So this one is a stamping kit. So in it comes an acrylic block, a little 1-inch ink pad, and the stamp set. And I'll show you what the actual images are. There you go. So it's sending love, wishing you comfort, you're in my thoughts, and some leaves. And the value of an acrylic block, a little mini ink pad, a stamp set, 9 cards and envelopes for £22 is crazy. And these are just great for gifts, but they're also great for us when we just want a little bit of crafting. So this is the envelopes. They're just white, but then they've got this beautiful pattern here. And then there are 9 cards, so 3 each of each design. So there we go. So this is sort of printed, but then you've got some stamping and some gems. Then this one is again pre-printed, and we've got some gems. And if you look on the back of this one, it's printed on the back as well. So if you're being really frugal, you could cut that in half and use half for a different card. And then you've got this one, which has got this laser cut piece and, oh, come on, sending love. That's what that one says. Really lovely. So that is the Beautiful Blues Kit. And it's actually really nice for kind of get well, thinking of you, sympathy cards as well. They're just beautiful. And, you know, the cardstock is nice. The elements are really lovely. It includes glue as well. So that's the Simply Blues kit. So that's £22. And then this one, and I think, honestly, this is the most underrated kit we've got right now. It's called Loveliest Wishes Kit. It's £14. And looking at that, you're thinking, goodness me, Amanda, what? That just looks like it's all a white blob, doesn't it? So there's, it makes 9 cards. I don't know whether the camera's going to be able to pick this up. Can you see? Yeah, look, there you go. Can you see the texture? It's like a hammered texture. So 3 of the cards are square. So this is a lovely piece of printed vellum. You've got, that's gold foiling. Those splats are gold foiling, and this is gold foiling as well. So it's very much a white on white card. And we talked about that last week, didn't we? White on white cards. And I love them. They just look so elegant. But they're really, really pretty. And then the other 6 cards are portrait style cards. But look at this. So at the back, it's vellum. And then you've got sort of printed leaves. They're sort of soft seafoam colour. And then you've got these lovely gems. Hang on, let me pull it forwards and pull it back and see. Honestly, it's because... So this is my Stampin' Up! Clearly has a problem taking photographs of it. Come on, focus. Yeah. Pull it back really slowly. Yay, look at that. You can see it now. Hooray. So if I try and jiggle this. Oh no, it's gone out of focus again. I'll get the next one. This one I think is my Oh, no. This one, I think, is my favourite one because it's got that daisy on it. Look at that. That's gold foil. The centre of that daisy is gold foil, and the sentiment on there is gold foil as well. It's really, really pretty. So, again, that's £14. There's no stamps in that, but there are sentiments in English, French, German, and Dutch. And that's also really good because you never know when you might need a sentiment in a different language. But also, I collect them all up, all the different language versions, and give them to school teacher friends so that they can use them in language classes. So that works really well. Cherie is saying there's something about blue. Yeah. My favorite color ever. Okay, so we're going to do some crafting now. And I said right at the beginning, I am going to be using one of my favorite bundles in the new releases, which is this one. It's called Gears and Textures. Let me just pop that there. So you've got stamps. And then you've got dies. And they're just really, really versatile. So I'm going to make a couple of cards, one with just stamping and one that's got some of the die cut elements. And I'm just going to show you some of the die cut elements. And I need you to admire this. I made this dish. Look. I made it on a wheel. So last Christmas, Connor and Kimberly bought me a pottery introductory class. So you're going to see some of my other pots and things. It was only a 5-hour class. I made 3 dishes and 2 trays. But I loved it, honestly. It was, I loved being on the wheel and actually doing things. However, as proud as I am of this, and this is absolutely, definitely the best thing that I made, it was actually supposed to be about this tool and a cylinder. That is neither of those things. So needless to say, I really enjoyed it and I had lots of fun, but I don't know that I'm actually that good. But there we go. Okay, so I'm going to get this camera turned around. Let me just move that out of the way. Bring that here. I'm going to have grid paper on the table. I'm hoping it's not going to send the camera completely wonky. Ew. Okay. So something's gone really wonky with the camera. Okay. Bear with me a second because that is not where the camera should be, which probably explains why everything was all a bit weird earlier. Oh. Right, let's have a look. Oh, that's so much better. Although you can now see my tea, which isn't necessarily ideal. Okay, let me just move those out of the way. Move my tea out of the way. Well, slurp my tea first and then move my tea out of the way. Okay, so I've got an assortment of blocks. I've got a water spritzer, a blending brush. What inks have I got? Crumb cake, pecan pie, and early espresso. And I've got my big happy birthday from Fabulous Sayings. So let's start out actually with, I'm going to make a couple of card bases. So I'm going to make a landscape card first. And whenever I make landscape style cards, I always have the score line on the short edge so that it opens kind of like a book. So it opens like that rather than having the score line up here. So it's more like a tent. I prefer it like that. And then let me just do a layer. And then we'll figure out what we want in a minute for the rest of it. Okay. So we're going to start out doing a slightly grungy card. And I think this particular stamp set really does lend itself to kind of a grungy, steampunky kind of style. But there are some really clean images too. And I've had a few people asking me questions about some of the images. So I just wanted to say this here is actually a hanging element for a bulb. And in the dies, can you see that there? That is the bulb that hangs off. And this piece is as well. So those two pieces are the bits there. Okay, so I I had somebody saying that they weren't sure what that was. So there we go. So you've got lots and lots of different elements. But I'm going to start out with my blending brush and the crumb cake ink, and you can see I was playing with this the other day, so I just left it all stacked ready. So blending brushes are a great way of getting color onto your background, but if you ink up your blending brush and go straight on to your piece of card, this is what happens. You end up with like the shape of the blending brush, and you really don't want that. You want it to have plenty of color, but that's just not ideal. So we always have two sides of card. So we go on the other side. If you start off not directly onto your card and you're moving your blending brush all the time, you will start to be able to build up color. Ink it up again, start off and build up. Now, absolutely, you can pick a different color up. This is pecan pie. But you can see, look there, I've ended up with too much color just there. So I'm going to take off the ink and I'm going to go back in and blend over that area. And still, that for me is too dark. So what we're going to do is I've got a spritzer here and a bit of tissue. And this will give you an added effect, but it will also start pulling up the color. Okay. So you can see you're going to lift it up. If you put too much water on there, the top of your paper will start to pill like this. Now this is, I'm for those of you that haven't hung out with me for a while, I'm actually doing this on purpose. I don't want you to think that I didn't mean to do this. I actually did mean to do this because I want to show you what happens. Okay, so if you're putting too much water on it, that's just gonna happen and it's all gonna fall apart. Okay, so rather than do all of those things, you would work on the other side. Since I'd already messed up the other side, we're going to start again. So I'm hoping that what I've just shown you shows you to be careful with water. Be really careful with water on basic white cardstock. If you want to use a lot of water, use our watercolor paper. But we are going to use a little bit. All right. There we go. Can you see that? Right. So let's get a little bit of pecan pie. Take a bit off. And we're just going to add a few little bits. There we go. So now we've got quite a nice blended background. I'm just going to add a tiny bit more crumb cake. So I'm going to do this twice because I'm making 2 cards. And I want to make sure that it's dry by the time I get to stamp on it. So I'm going with crumb cake again. And I always press my finger on the blending brush. Does anyone else do that? Maybe you're not supposed to, I don't know. It feels like I have more control. So can you see how different in color that this one is? This is purely crumb cake and this one is crumb cake and pecan pie. So I'm going to stay with purely crumb cake on this one, but just have some areas of stronger color. Ali's saying she does that too. Good. Please, I'm not the only one. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is get some water. Now, I just showed you what happens if you kind of try and put too much water on it and it all pills and it goes horrible. This is the way to get water splats onto your card without it destroying the card. Now, you can do it in multiple ways. You can get a water painter and flick it on, or you can do it my way, which is to put some water in your hand and then use your other hand like a claw and flick. And by doing this, what it does is it gives you a bit more control in the sense of where you're flicking, but it also gets different sizes of splats. Now I'm going to pick this up. I am going to dry it off in a second, but you can probably see some of the splats. And what happens is where the water hits the card, it pushes the ink out and you end up with little rings. And you can see it better on this one, actually. And what I tend to do is I just put a piece of tissue over the top. So I'm just drying it off. So look, like that and like that. And then if you want more splats, coloured splats. Again, you can use re-inker and a paintbrush. You can pick up some ink from one of your ink pads and water it down and flick that. I prefer to use my blends, mainly because they dry faster. But it's not recommended to do the way that I'm going to show you because you'll break your tips on your blends. So what Stampin' Up recommend that you do is you take your blend and you use another blend or your bone folder or a pen and tap like this. And I'm just going to do this on this one just to show you. And then I'll show you on the other one the way that I do it. Now, what this does is it gives you... Oh, come on, focus. Focus, focus, focus. It gives you these teeny tiny splats. And it's really well controlled. Or whereas, if you use your lid and use your brush tip and flick, you get big splats, small splats, all splats, and it's much more effective to my mind. However, I am not responsible for you breaking your markers. Okay. So there we go. Okay, so I'm going to put these to one side and grab in a couple that I've done earlier. I just need to put some more splats on this one. And the reason is because I'm going to be stamping on them, I want to make sure that they are absolutely dry. Okay. Right. So one of these needs a bit more pecan, like that original card. So let me just add in a bit more ink. There we go. Okay, so that'll be for the second card. So we're going to start here. Let me turn it around. That's a bit better, isn't it? So Lorraine does that, Ali does that, holding the blending brush like this. And Cherie says she holds the head on both sides. So kind of like that. So you're then getting even more control. That's very cool. Okay, so I am going to stamp the amazing Happy Birthday from Fabulous Sayings straight down onto my card. And I love the font. I love the size of it. It's just awesome. And then I'm going to pull out my stamps. Now, this is my cheat sheet. We've talked about this several times. It's just a great way of making sure that you've got all your stamps at the end of a stamping session, because I hate it if I think I've lost a stamp. Let's just add in a few more. I'm going to come back and swap some of the stamps out, I think, as well in a minute. Okay, so when we are doing this kind of grungy stamping, the temptation is to treat the stamping like we're trying to make something perfect. And the whole point of this, let me just chop that off because that's going to be annoying. The whole point of this type of stamping is that there is no pattern to it. And that's actually, it can be quite freeing for some people, and it can be quite upsetting for others. And again, there's no right or wrong way here. At the end of the day, we like what we like, don't we? We make the cards that we like. We make the projects that we like. And if this isn't your style, I have got a second card to show you in a minute that's much more clean than this one. So that might work better for you. Now, because this is all tonal, so it's all shades of brown I'm using, I'm going to be stamping multiple generations of the image because I know that I will be able to layer things up. So I tend to start with the bigger stamps and then infill with the smaller stamps. So I'm going to start with this one, which kind of reminds me of a coffee cup kind of ring. And I'm just going to stamp it off a couple of times and stamp it down. I don't mind stamping over the sentiment as well in the lighter colors because that's still going to be my focal point. And odd numbers always with whatever we're doing. So I'm just going to pop that down and get this one. So this line stamp is really nice because, again, what it's doing is it's giving texture. And then I'm going to go in with some splats. Now I am stamping those off 1, 2, 3 times before I stamp them onto the card. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And all of a sudden, you've got this beautiful sort of background. But obviously what we need now are a few more of the more architectural elements. I need a little bit of splats down there. Let me just add that. Hi, Margaret. Say this looks interesting. I am pleased you think so. Right, so I am now going to stamp some of the gears in the darker colors, and all of a sudden it will start to lift the whole card. And you can sort of stamp them so that they're touching and they're interlocking, because obviously these are photopolymer stamps. You can kind of see where they're going. And it doesn't matter if elements are not stamped as cleanly. And I think that's another thing. You know how sometimes you get really sad because basically you've stamped something and then you misstamp and then something doesn't quite work. And basically that's because you've sort of not quite got the whole image. And then actually it's okay for this type of grungy stamping, because the reality is, was it supposed to be like that? Who knows? So now I'm going to use some of my longer stamps. I love this one. This is like a chain. I'm going to pop that sort of there. And a bit of it there. And maybe a bit down the bottom. Who likes this kind of stamping? I always like to ask, because quite often it's like, oh no, Amanda, this is not going to work for me. There we go. How cool is that? So I am going to add in a couple more splats. Let's see. There. There. And one there. So there we go. Okay, so there are, let me just show you in the stamps, there are these 3 little tiny stamps. So there's like a Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and like a little star. And you've got these little tiny elements as well. Let me just clean that off. So it's just like 3 little lines. And what that does is, if you've got elements that you're just looking and thinking, oh, that just needs a little bit of something, but you're not sure what it is. There you go. You just add in a little bit. Okay. So let's get this all stuck together. And as always, once you start matting and layering, it makes a huge difference, because you've just gone from a card that has kind of random colors and random stamping, and all of a sudden you've actually got a card that makes sense. So I'm just going to stamp a little bit on the inside. So that the card's finished. There we go. I mean, that's the essence of complete random stamping right there. There we go. So this, to me, the sort of sepia style colors, very kind of Victorian style colors, really. But it's just really soft. This would look stunning in shades of blue, shades of gray as well. But it just works really, really well. So let me just see. Lorraine said she had lots of fun with this bundle. Chris is saying it's like clockwork. Each one would be different. Absolutely. And Margaret's saying she's no good at it, but I admire the effect when it's done. I think the thing is as well, sometimes you just have to keep having a go at it. And walking away is probably my biggest tip. I love this kind of style, but I do find that sometimes I look at it and I think, oh, that's rubbish. But if I then tidy up, put it to one side and come back to it, I'm actually thinking I'm quite proud of what I've just done. So I think there are times and elements when you are better at this than you think you are. And we're always our own worst critics, aren't we? Jill saying she usually hates random stamping because you never know how it's going to end up, but she's learned to love creating this texture. Oh, Margaret bought the dies only. So, and that's one of the things we're going to look at in a minute. So this is the first card. Now, the next card is going to be very similar in its base, but we're going to be adding the dies in. But I want to show you another version of this, which is this one. Now, this is one that we made in our card class a couple of weeks ago. And I designed it mainly to be for sort of a teenage type, a teenage type card. So hence the fairly bright colors, but the sort of grungy effect. But because I've left the background really white, all the colors really pop. And I've got the happy birthday, and this is my other favorite sentiment stamp set, which is this one. It's called Reason to Celebrate. And you've got all of the special occasions you can pretty much think about, including Valentine's Day. And in actual fact, hopefully Brian won't be listening, I'm going to make him a card like this for Valentine's Day, which is going to make him howl with laughter, because he often says when I make cards like this, it looks like I've stood on them. But there you go. Anyway, so if really kind of grungy isn't your thing, you can use brighter colors and it looks similar but different. Good night, Lorraine. She's got her grandkids tomorrow, needs the rest. Jill saying you could always stamp a few images on the Nature Walk patterned paper to get something similar but a bit more controlled. Absolutely. And Nature Walk the patterned papers in Nature Walk are amazing. So I'm going to be showcasing those in a couple of Craft and Chats time. Cherie saying the key is layering it by stamping off, and that absolutely is the way to work. If you go straight onto the card with the full strength, particularly to begin with, you've got nowhere to go. Whereas where I've got multiple generations of color, you've got lots of different texture in there. And Margaret's saying she's got to add the stamp set. Yeah, you see, you need the stamps. Okay, good night, Lorraine. Okay, so I'm just going to, before I start stamping on the next card, I'm just going to show you some of these die cuts, because there are lots of different ones, and I I die cut a mountain because I wasn't sure what I wanted to use. I knew that I wanted to add in some gold foiling. So you've got this kind of, looks to me a bit like a fence. You've got the big cogs, you've got little cogs, tiny cogs. You've got cogs that you can actually layer. So those cogs will actually, layer up together. Some of these will actually die cut the stamped images as well. So you end up with circles as well. There's a ladder. There's like a notepad element. Obviously, you've got the chain link, which I adore. What else have we got? Oh, there is the bulb. So do you remember I said, let me move those out of the way. Remember I said about with the stamp, let me just show you. Oh, I don't know how well that's actually going to show up, but that's how it's designed to go. So you've got this little stamped image and your little bulb. So it's kind of hanging. So that, again, that is a great way of building things up. So I'm going to do a standard card this time, like a standard portrait style card, because, you know, it's going to be similar, but not the same. And I think it's really key, if you have got all your stamps out and your dies out and you're doing sorry, my brain's gone. Yeah, if you've got everything out, don't just make one card. Because that's a whole heap of getting out and a whole heap of tidying up. Make more cards. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my happy birthday, and I'm going to use the little one and make a little square or rectangle. Cherie's saying, have I tried it on the textured metallic or earth tone metallic yet? No, I haven't. I haven't got that yet. I think, well, I know it's on one of my lists. So I have lists all the time of things that I think, oh, I need that. And then it sits on in my wish lists. And just in case you don't know about wish lists, when you go into your Stampin' Up account and you look at an item, there's like a little heart icon in the corner. If you think, I really like that, but I'm not going to get it today, if you click on that little heart icon, it will ask you if you want to put it into a wish list, and you can name the lists. And so I always have a wish list running for my next order, and like an ongoing wish list of things that I think, oh, I quite like that, but I don't know whether I'm going to get enough use out of it yet. So I'll just sort of hold it there for now. And it's brilliant because it means then that all those things that you come across in the Stampin' Up store that you then subsequently forget about and you can't remember what it was called, and it drives you insane because you can't remember. And I'm sure I am not the only one that this happens to. Then you can check on your wish lists. Just to quickly show you, these are the two that I did earlier. I'm actually going to be using this one. But I'm going to be stamping onto this one my happy birthday. So, yeah, Cherie's saying sometimes it's hard to know what to get. And I find that I always look at the sweets first because I'm usually fairly fairly sure that if I really like the stamps and dies in a suite, I will probably like everything else in the suite. So, yeah. And it's much easier to order it that way if you order a whole suite, because just one number. So, there we go. We are going to put that offset. What do we think of that? Is that annoying everybody? On this way, I've got it happy birthday there. Oh. Okay. Okay. That's annoying me now. So this, I'm actually stamping. Let me go there. I'm actually stamping this in Early Espresso. Take care, Ali. Oh my goodness me, we're much later than we are normally. So you got carried away today. There we go. Right, so I'm just going to trim that down. So we are going to have that, and I don't know yet whether I'm going to mount it on a piece of Early Espresso, but we're going to be working on this piece. No, I think I'm going to leave it like that. So we're going to be working on this piece. What I'm actually going to do is very quickly do some of that stamping that we did earlier. But this time, I'm just going to be doing it at the crazy speed that I normally work at. I do stamp quite quickly. And I think, as much as anything, it's because I'm really not overly concerned about where things are going. And that's the joy of this type of stamping, because you can just, it'll be fine. Wherever it goes, it will be fine. And I'm just trying to keep with my 5. Okay, so I want my happy birthday there, but what I also want is some of these dies. Now, this is going to be interesting because this is the bit that I'm going to be faffing around with for hours, because I'll be like, oh, I could put that there, and what about that, and can I do that, and just because a die, hang on, let me turn that grid paper over. Right, let me get another. Actually, you can see there, just because that die is this big doesn't mean you have to use the whole thing. So you can have elements of it hanging out over the top. And that piece can go like that. I can have a bit of that up there. Oh, no. Let's try that up there. What are we thinking? I've purposely left that piece empty, but I might put something else down here. Maybe, have we got another? Oh. Maybe that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. That makes me happy. 9 makes me happy. Always Always odd numbers. Just odd numbers. Visually, your brain and your eyes accept odd numbers, as opposed to if it sees an even number of items, it wants them all to be aligned, and it will look at it and go, well, no, that's not right. That shouldn't be like that. And it will look odd to you. So if ever you are looking at a card and thinking there's something wrong with it, and you can't figure out what it is, count up how many elements you've got. And sometimes it can be the number of green things, for instance, or the number of flowers, or the number of layers. It can be all kinds of strange things that you look at, and on first glance you think, oh yeah, that's fine, that's absolutely fine. But the reality is it isn't fine, because it's an even number, and quite often it will be that your brain is not happy with. So I can just get away with that. Release your inner child. Yes, exactly what we're doing today. We are just playing, and I appreciate those of you that are still hanging out with me, because I know that we're a bit later than we are normally. But that's okay, because this is cool. We are having fun. And you never know what you're going to get in the end. Chris is saying it's like flower arranging. Same thing. You always use odd numbers. Absolutely. Yeah, it's the same with flower arranging, gardening. But even if you're, I don't know, arranging things on a shelf, your brain will always want odd numbers. Or, no, that's not true. I don't know that it's that your brain wants the odd numbers. It's just, it will look so much better if you have odd numbers to your brain. Okay, so obviously I've got all these little elements hanging off the edge. So what I'm going to do is turn it over and snip them off, and put these elements in your little basket, because when you're making your next card, you will have them there already. There we go. So all of a sudden, this will look better because it got straight edges again, even though it's a grungy card. I'm going to layer this up. Oh, layer it up upside down. That's fine. Let's do it that way instead. Of course, I'm actually now at the point with sticky things everywhere. My fingers are sticky, everything's sticky. Okay. And there we go. Oh, we are nearly done. Ta-da! Okay, so there you go. So we've got a little bit of gold, all the different colors. Nice little 3D happy birthday. Obviously, what you can do is you could mat and layer that as well. That's quite wonky though. Let's just straighten that up a bit. Oh, yeah. But I kind of quite like it that it's kind of part of that. So this is obviously just the stamped images, and then obviously you've got a stepped up version with the dies, and then obviously that's your bright colored version. Hooray, there we go. We are finished. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. All of the items that you've seen today can be purchased in my online store. So if you pop over to my blog, let me just pull that up for you, which is www.inspiringinking.com. You'll see clickable links through to my online store. You can register there for my email list, so you can sign up for my email list. And if you're on YouTube, obviously you can sign up to get notified and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it if you do that too. I will be back here next week, next Tuesday at 2:00 UK time. As always, watch out for your email inboxes tomorrow. There's some important information coming out tomorrow, and I will look forward to seeing you all very soon. Take care of yourselves. Have a fabulous week. Goodbye.